Calgary Flames fans, it's time for Flames Unfiltered. Entertaining and controversial hockey talk with your host, Brad Burud. The waiting, the anticipation. It's going to be a long week, Flames fans. The playoffs are right around the corner. Flames fans, time for another edition of Flames Unfiltered. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud. Good to have you with us 1 week from Stanley Cup playoffs. And that's fun to say in Calgary because, yeah, we haven't been there for a little while, have we? As sad as that sounds, but yeah, we're getting ready. We're getting ready. We don't know our opponent yet, and we got 3 games to go. All of them on the road. We'll talk about that later on in the show. The Flames are peaking we say peaking at the right time. How about we change that phrase to just playing good and playing consistent like we've been doing all year? And that's probably the way we need to look at it. Other teams are red hot too. There's some Oilers are hot. Panthers are really, really hot. Yeah, a lot of good teams going into the Stanley Cup playoffs. And right now, I was thinking about it last night. As I was watching those Flames and Canucks, and Flames got off to kind of a slow start. And I thought, what are we trying to get out of these final games here? We've clinched the Pacific. We've clinched a playoff spot. We've clinched as much as we can, right, at the moment. And right now, I'm just looking for consistent line play. The lines continuing to gel like they have been, and God knows and God help us that we can stay as injury free as we possibly can. I do believe that we will deal with injuries still as the playoffs grow near, and hopefully we can stay healthy to get into the playoffs. But I think it's going to be hard to play a long run in the playoffs without having to deal with some injuries here or there. So hopefully, we can keep those at a minimum. Daryl Sutter said the other day, playoff success is determined on good goaltending and staying healthy. And I believe that. And if you look at the Flames season, the regular season this year, a lot of it's credited to good goaltending and staying healthy. Having a first line that's arguably the best first line in the National Hockey League hasn't hurt at all either. But all key aspects, whether it be playoffs or regular season success. And boy, it's fun in Calgary. We've seen a lot of success this year, and I'm not taking it for granted because I remember those seasons. I remember the seasons getting ready for this show on a weekly basis going, what am I going to talk about tonight? Because I don't want to bitch every week. And this year, I haven't really had to bitch hardly at all here and there, just little things, but seems like the problems are so much smaller this year. And that's really a good thing. On today's episode, we're going to talk about that Dallas and Vancouver game at the Dome here this past weekend. And then we'll have 2 great guests join the show. A regular one, probably the most regular guy that comes on the show, Nate Thomas, is going to join the show. And we're going to get into detail about how this final week of the season will play out and what we're looking for in the playoffs in the first round and on. And then Justin Thompson will join the show, his second time coming on the show. We'll dabble into the playoffs here and talk about the excitement and the anticipation as we get ready for the big Stanley Cup playoffs. And then we'll talk about some Flames news from the Pacific, and a quick preview of the 3 final road regular season games before we can put a bow around this and get to what really counts, and that's the Stanley Cup playoffs. All right, Flames fans, just 2 games to recap this week. Both of them took place at the Saddle Dome. Dallas into town on Thursday night for a game that a little bit of a slow start, I thought, for the Flames, a little bit of a struggle. Dallas, a team that, I don't know, I keep saying this on every show, that they're a team that I feel like we've struggled with over the past 5 years. This year, kind of here and there we struggled, but not too bad. A 4-2 win on Thursday night sure helps out. Flames outshoot the Stars 37-23. Jacob Markstrom with the win, his 37th of the year. We got to see Jake Ottinger. He's going to be a good young goalie, and maybe a goalie we're facing in the playoffs, as this team is likely to be a playoff opponent. We'll see what happens here in the last week, but Stars stumbling a little bit now, and I would say that stumble would probably move them out of contention to play us, but opens the door for those Vegas Golden Knights, and we don't want that. Calgary scores 3 in the third. That does it, seals the deal, 4-2 win. And what was a pretty good game for the Flames, kind of the game we want to see right now. Just manage the injuries, keep the pace up, and have success offensively, which they did, and get good goaltending, which I thought was adequate for Jacob Markstrom on Thursday night. Saturday night, last night, hockey night in Canada, the Vancouver Canucks come to town, and we look to end their season, not mathematically, but for the most part, we're going to end their season. And the Flames did just that, coming out with a big 6-3 win on hockey night in Canada. Shots 31-31. Dan Vladar gets the start last night. Dustin Wolf backs him up. Vladar, his 12th win of the year. Let's talk a little bit about that. I set a goal at the beginning of the year for 10 wins out of our backup goalie. And I thought if we did that, we were going to be having a successful season in Calgary this year. 12 wins exceeded my expectations, just 5 losses, 2 overtime losses. You know, could you ask for a better backup goalie than a 12-5-2? And a goalie that's looked strong and it's made big timely saves. Yeah, he's let in a few here and there, but so is Markstrom. But as a backup goes, boy, he's been rock solid this year. And boy, is that good to see. He's done everything that we can ask for in a backup goalie. And I feel really confident, you know, God forbid something ever happened to Markstrom, that we're not in as bad a shape as the doom and gloom that would come from that. Dubé has 2 goals last night. He's been really, really good lately. I was critical of him earlier in the year, and Daryl Sutter was too. Gave him a night off. Since then, he's been really, really good. Over 14 minutes of ice time last night, and gets 2 goals, and really should have had an empty netter hat trick goal at the end too. But that's a individual thing, and we don't talk about that in Calgary, do we? Unless we want our coach to come after us. Elias Lindholm, beautiful goal last night. His 40th goal last night. Goal and an assist, +2 for him over 18 minutes for the first line center of the Calgary Flames, and I can say that with confidence because no one can tell me anymore that he's not a first line center, right? Nikita Zadorov also had a goal last night, as he's really brought a big, strong physical presence to this team. And all in all, a good win over the Canucks. I don't know, a game we should win, but a game that's probably a really easy one for the Flames to not get too overly excited to play. So all in all, really, really good outing for the Flames. Great to see. And yeah, 3 more games on the road left, and this season, regular season, is wrapped up. Joining Flames Unfiltered now, he is a regular on the show. Nate Thomas joins the show. Good to have you with us, Nate.
Always happy to be here, Brad.
All right, it's a good time of year. We said we were going to do this. We said we're going to hook up before the playoffs, and we're going to kind of lay down what our thoughts are heading into this. And I don't know how you feel, but this last week was kind of a blur. And this week now, with just 3 road games remaining, I'm just like, we wish we could just quick hit the fast forward button and get to next week. But how are you going to handle this week as we head into the Stanley Cup playoffs next week?
Well, luckily, I think I still have like half bottle of there's like a Flames branded wine, so I still have some of that. So that's probably how I'll partially handle this coming week here, especially with just personally, I'm just kind of finishing up my semester, so everything is just a head rush right now, if you will. So um but yeah, obviously super excited for the playoffs to start. Looking over at the east side, I always find, like, unless Calgary's in it, right, I'm always looking towards the east because I don't normally like to, oh yeah, I'm gonna cheer for some other team in the west kind of thing. I always kind of like look out east, and north, like over the
Yeah.
last little while it's been Florida, but even that's been kind of stagnant because it's the playoffs have pretty much been set in the east
Since
since what, the
Christmas.
end of November. Yeah,
I know.
exactly. So it's just trying to figure out,
Horrible.
like, oh, who's playing who, right? So really the storyline right now is like, oh yeah, who's Toronto getting? Are they going to get Tampa? Are they going to maybe get Boston again? Who knows, right? So
Oh, they're gonna get
um
Tampa, and it's gonna be a gong show.
oh, absolutely. But it's been exciting out west because you still have that race between LA, Vancouver, and Vegas currently. And
Yeah.
Calgary just putting a harsh roadblock in the way of Vancouver there with last night's game, winning that there. And even for a team like Dallas, they just played on Thursday night, right? Like beating them, like the Flames are just like they're already set. They have the Pacific Division locked, which is fantastic for Flames. It's a great team accomplishment, but we know that's not what the team's looking to hang in the rafters next season, right? They could care less about that division banner. They want the Stanley Cup banner, which is so refreshing, honestly, to hear this season, right? Like, especially from a blunt guy like Daryl Sutter, who's just like, cool. That,
You
that,
know,
that's not what I'm here for. So,
isn't that different than in 2018, 19? And I hate going back to that because this team's so different. But like
mhm.
that year, it was just like all roses, and this year it's just like, no, mission's not even close to complete. We have a lot to go.
Well, and there's an interview clip from Johnny Gaudreau as well that he talked about how they went into the 2019 playoffs just a little too laid back and whatnot. And he's like, the players that are still here, they learned their lesson from that, and we're not taking our foot off the gas whatsoever. Because even at the end of that season, right, you could tell it was a little more like maybe like lollygagging, I guess, on the ice or that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
The intensity wasn't quite there because it's, oh, okay, you got to rest up for the playoffs and that sort of thing. But if you shake yourself out of that, it's the practice like you play kind of mentality, right? And like, yes, they're still playing games. You're about to play game 80 on Tuesday there against Nashville, but especially for that Nashville game, that's potentially your first round matchup here, right? So really, the only difference I think in the lineup for that game is going to be you're going to have Dan Vladar starting, is my assumption, just based on how things have worked out.
I don't
And
know. Do you think so? Do you think so? You think Vladar gets a start against Nashville?
if I'm looking at, because goaltending matchups are such a big thing, right? And I mean, I even kind of did it in my own like short playing career as well. Like even just simple things of, in warm up, I would have the backup actually take more reps than I would because I didn't want the other team seeing a whole lot of me in person, right? If they
Sure.
really wanted to figure uh like stuff about myself, right? And it's way easier than in the NHL than it is for junior B lacrosse or anything like that. Like they can go out and actually do the research themselves. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
literally give them the information right there, right? I'm not gonna play in front of you, right, and give you that information on how to beat me here. So I think it is a really good strategy, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I
And
don't.
like Markstrom's played Nashville enough and played a lot of these guys long enough. He's fine for it, right? It's how that group as a whole in Nashville is going to play against Markstrom is going to be the challenge here, I think.
I've kind of went back and forth. I thought my original thought was I would play Markstrom against Nashville and then give Vladar the back-to-back Minnesota, Winnipeg, and end the season. But then I thought, whoa, that's a long wait. That's a long wait for Markstrom. So then I thought, I was leaning a little bit more towards you, that I would go Vladar against Nashville. I would give Markstrom the night off against Minnesota, and I'd go Vladar, Markstrom.
Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page because I took a look at the schedule here and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I do it. You play him against Winnipeg, who's not in the playoff picture or anything like that, right? Minnesota is a potential second
Yep.
round opponent, or third round, I guess.
Third
No,
round.
yeah, it'd be third round, yeah.
Yep.
If they manage to get past the behemoth Colorado Avalanche,
But I started to think though, I'm like, man, I started to think, I'm like, every time I've done that though with goalies this year, Sutter's done it the opposite way. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I love our logic there, and I'm not arguing. I'm not questioning his logic because he knows a hell of a lot more than we do. But
yeah, absolutely.
Like, I like our plan, and I think we're right, and what we're saying there makes sense. But for some reason, it probably won't play out that way.
Yeah, no, I can. Daryl Sutter is predictable in the sense that he's going to be unpredictable. If that makes any sense, right?
Yeah.
Is the expect the unexpected thing. So, but I feel like this will probably be the path that he takes. It, like we were talking about, logically it does make sense, but yeah, you never know. He might he might do the flip, at least for Minnesota Winnipeg. I'm pretty sure at least that Vladar would be the starter for Nashville, but
I'm wondering though, like, you look at that, and then I start to worry, well, geez, is that too long of a break? Going from Dallas to all the way to Winnipeg.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. We could probably talk about that for an hour and try to figure it out, but it'll be interesting. And I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about this race, because this race in the West is way better than in the East. The East is just jockeying for position, but out West,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I look at this, and Vancouver, I'm writing them off officially after last night. So it's basically LA, Nashville, Dallas, and Vegas fighting for the final spot. And I originally thought Vegas's way in was going to be to catch LA, and that still mathematically can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 7 points difference there, but 2 games in hand. Do you think LA's locked that third spot up?
The way they've been playing lately, like, honestly, it was Drew Doughty is out for the rest of the season and the playoffs, and I was kind of ready for them to fall back, right? Because it's obviously, it's not like basketball where one guy can drastically change the outcome of a game, right? But obviously these are key pieces, and especially a big time defenseman like Drew Doughty, losing that on your back end does really hurt. With the Anaheim Ducks, though, I've seen LA already twice this week, just having to just watching those games. And that's a team that is giving it their all. They still want to be there. They're still going to be a challenge for their most likely first round opponent, the Edmonton Oilers, I think.
Oh yeah, I think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to, honestly, the LA Kings. Like, the LA Kings will make the playoffs. The LA Kings will make the playoffs as long as Jonathan Quick wills them to. He has been fantastic over the last while from what I've seen. The amount of times I've done like the holy crap, like watching him play and stuff like that has been it's been ridiculous. Just over the last little while, he's somehow gotten a hold of a time machine and has gone back to 2012. It's just ridiculous.
I can't help but think that McDavid and Draisaitl aren't going, oh no.
Hot goalie.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like, okay, we can get around everybody else, but we have to get through that last line of the
I know.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
And who thought at the beginning of the year that we'd be saying Jonathan Quick is the key to a second round?
Right?
Oh wow. Jeez. That's
I mean, I think at least even like LA's front office was kind of thinking the same thing, right? Like, they're trying to get Cal Peterson ready to go, and he's the future of that franchise. But Jonathan Quick's like, I'm not done yet.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, it's
he's such a fun goaltender to watch.
He is. Nashville, Dallas, and Vegas also fighting. Dallas has been a little bit of a struggle, just winning 2 of their last 5. They have a head-to-head Tuesday night against Vegas, and I feel like that game's going to determine so much.
Yeah, it definitely could. I'm looking at their schedule now too. That's really the only competition I would say that they have in their last 3 games here. It's Vegas, but and then they play the next night against Arizona.
This is
And
Dallas, right?
then yeah, this is Dallas.
Yeah.
And then finishing off the season against Anaheim. So I feel like they have a bit of an easier way to be able to keep
Who does
their
Vegas have?
spot, but Vegas has Dallas, Chicago, and St. Louis. And I guess we're recording this on Sunday. They're playing San Jose tonight. Who that's
Yes.
always been that's always just been a rough game, right? So
That's a must watch tonight, actually. It really
yeah.
is.
Yeah, it really is.
I find myself this last week. I'm gonna tell you how I've been watching the Flames games this week, and you tell me if you've kind of been watching it the same way. First off, I've been watching the Vegas games as much as the Flames games. And I'm cheering for Vegas to lose harder than I'm cheering for the Flames to win.
Yeah.
I'm cheering for the Oilers to stumble, and they did today, to knock their confidence level down. And I'm watching the Flames, hoping that line consistency stays good, tempo is good, goaltending's solid, and nobody gets hurt.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, I've been trying to keep up with Vegas as much as possible. I haven't been able to sit down and watch those games, but yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you there, right? Just as long as we continue to do what has been working, what we know works, and yeah, keep everybody healthy as possible going into the playoffs here, should be okay.
If you had to predict who we're going to play in this first round, and that's really all we're doing right now is speculating, but who do you think we will be playing?
I feel like it's going to be Nashville, but I'm going to take a little bit of a different turn, I think, from a lot of people on social media right now. I think I'd rather take Dallas, to be honest with you.
Okay. I've had this conversation twice in the last 2 days. And
okay, who else had it? Who else had it?
Justin Thompson had it.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who Justin is? He's actually going to be a guest on the show here on the same episode too. Justin too. He favors Dallas over Nashville, and I do in aspects. But here's why I argued with him: is that I just look at how the Flames have been against Dallas over the last few years, and I know you can tell me, Brad, you're crazy because this isn't the same team, and I do agree with that. Mm-hmm. But it seems like just Dallas has our number. I don't know why. And we just beat them the other night. So, I mean, like, I don't even, I worry. Here's what I worry about with Dallas. I think we're heavy favorites in goalie, even though I like Ottinger. Defensively, I think we're better, but Miro Heiskanen is just all world. And
yeah,
what my fear is they have a lot of pain in the asses up front on their forwards. They're going to be a bitch to play against in the playoffs. And then I worry about the first line finally getting their crap together for the playoffs, and because that would be our luck. So that's my fear on Dallas. But you think I'm wrong. You feel like Dallas is the way to go.
If that first line gets their crap together, there's a solid defense core backing up the Calgary Flames that can shut them down, I think. And then once you have that first line shut down, right? It's kind of who did that happen? It was Edmonton and Winnipeg last season, right? They were able to shut down McDavid and Draisaitl, like that first line that they were doing, and Winnipeg swept that series. Mind you, game 4 was 3 overtimes or something like that. I know it was like almost 1 o'clock here by the time the game was done, but just I don't know. It's like Dallas is a depth team and all that. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. It is that like first line punch, and then the rest just kind of come in, right? If you can stop that first punch,
for sure.
And I think you got a chance. I do like Ottinger, though. He's been a fantastic goalie to watch as well. But if, the Flames have been not like, how do I put this? It hasn't been super flashy, but it's been effective, right? Their forwards and how they're able to create space for themselves, right? Like take a look at I think was it last night's game? Matthew Tkachuk was able to just walk in and take a slap shot from the top of the right circle or something like that. And Johnny Gaudreau, just like a couple games ago as well, was able to just get left all alone by himself, right? this forward core is able to make room for themselves. And I mean, that's just even examples for the top line, right? Like Milan Lucic has had chances where he's wide open. Like,
Oh, I know.
so this Flames team, I think, can separate the defensive side of the Dallas Stars. Then he's had to worry about Ottinger. But I mean, I've said it a bunch of times, right? You can have like, say, prime Carey Price, right? But if you don't have the team in front of him to help him out, the guy's playing 5-on-0, right? The odds are already stacked against. So
yeah. So so like you favor Dallas more than Nashville. What scares you about Nashville?
Nashville's just been we've only played 2 games against them this season, and the one was on a back-to-back for Calgary, mind you. But that's just a team that's been able to keep up, right? Both of those games have gone to extra time.
They have, yeah.
So they do get played fairly even.
They're a lot like us.
They are.
Big body structure. They've been getting good goaltending. They're going to be a bitch to play against because they're going to be mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be I think anybody we play in the first round is going to be a tough out because that's the Stanley Cup playoffs. But yeah, Nashville's going to be a tough out. I can't disagree with you on that.
And I think the big thing, and this was listening to the Barn Burner hockey show with they had the Catfish on Ice guys, right? The Nashville guys from the Hockey Podcast Network there. The Catfish guys were talking about how, Nashville, just if they can be more disciplined, they'll have a good chance, right? Because their penalty kill is what's been killing them, it seems like, this season. So, if that, the not so good aspect of taking penalties for Nashville continues, it'll be an easier road for Calgary. But from what I can remember, like both games that we played against Nashville this season were pretty well disciplined on both sides. I might have to take a look again into the penalties and everything like that. But that's what made them even games, right? So
they've been good games. They've been really, really good games.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think the top performers for the Flames will be in the playoffs?
I mean, you'd obviously hope it's that top line of Lindholm, Tkachuk, and Gaudreau especially, but oh man,
Sutter would kill us for talking today, wouldn't he? If he was,
he absolutely would.
He would just he'd want to strangle both of us for predicting who we should play and who we want to play. And now we're talking about individual players, man, he'd be irate.
Yeah, part of me wonders if Oliver Shillington might be a factor. Because he hasn't not a whole lot of teams have really seen a whole lot of him. Like, he kind of feels like a wild card to me, to be honest with you. Like he's not going to be like he wouldn't be a massive role in my head, but just enough of a factor.
You know who I think is going to have just a massive role in the first round for sure?
Who's that?
Zadorov. Massive.
Oh yeah, setting the physical tempo and whatnot.
The guy is hard to play against in the regular season, and in the postseason, he is going to be brutal to play against. And he finds a way to get shots through. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just think he's going to be a big key. Yeah, Shillington probably was going to, he has a potential to be a that sleeper guy, like you said, on offensively. I think I like what he brings to the table for us. I really do.
Oh yeah, he's great back there. I know I already brought up his name, but I was just kind of thinking about it. Matthew Tkachuk might be a bigger factor than just the score sheet. I think we know that the guy loves and is pretty good at getting under people's skin, right? If you have a team like Nashville that has a tendency to be a little undisciplined, that could definitely be a major factor that's not put on the score sheet. So
I hope Matthew Tkachuk figures out a way,
season, right?
No, I don't know. I knew I really want to have the C next season.
Who's that?
I think Lindholm.
Yeah, I could see it.
But here's another thing, though. I think, and we're getting off topic, but this is good. I think the best thing, one of the best things Sutter did this year was not name a captain.
Absolutely.
I think it's huge.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I don't even know why the hell we have to have a captain next year.
Yeah, I can kind of see your point there.
Like, don't you want a team full of guys that are ready to step up and lead? And I think this year we've had I think we've had a handful of guys that this whole fan base has talked about. Well, I think he could be captain. I think he could be captain. I think he could be captain. I think with this, we all need to just shut up and be happy that we have 5 guys that we would even consider. Most teams don't have that.
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, you want to talk about leading by committee, look over at the New York Rangers there, right? They have 6 alternates, right? 3 for home, 3 for away. I feel like part of it is maybe just it's kind of an image thing, right? Because I feel like your captain obviously is a leader on the ice, a leader in the room. At least one of your top 5 players that you have on your roster, typically. But he's also somebody that should embody the identity that comes with this team, right? And that's kind of why I look at Matthew Tkachuk, right? They're a team that is highly skilled, can get under your skin, but is turning a corner and is getting younger and is just ready for anything. So
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think we have a group of them that would do a really, really good job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's funny though. I sit and I look at this team, and we're not in the locker room, so we don't know, but we can kind of get a feel because we watch a lot, and I would bet you Lucic is the leader in the locker room.
Yep.
I don't really want him to be captain. Not that I don't like him. I wouldn't be not here long term. We're not keeping him.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. If he was here a little bit longer, I actually wouldn't hate the idea. But it does kind of lean into your idea though of like we don't have to name a captain because there are a lot of other guys. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying there.
I don't know. What do you think some of the Flames positives are headed into the playoffs, and what are any negatives that you see headed into the playoffs?
I mean, you know me, I'm a big goalie guy. I still love our goaltending, right? Dan Vladar has been awesome over the last month or so. And so you know you have a guy, and I've said this from the very beginning, like even just watching that first preseason blowout game against the Edmonton Oilers, I was sitting 7 rows behind Dan Vladar. I was just purely watching him, how he played the puck and everything like that. And I was like, this guy will be reliable. And I think he's shown it throughout the season. So that's giving a little bit more that takes the stress off a little bit, I think, going into the postseason, right? Because you don't have to worry about what if Markstrom goes down, right? Like it's okay. We have Vladar. There's a solid goaltender here that can still help us do what we need to do.
I'll tell you what, if Markstrom goes down, the sun will. People in Calgary will be talking like the sun is not going to come up, but it will.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Dan Vladar is just fine. He's exceeded. I don't think if people that truly watch the games, I don't think there's anybody in Calgary that can't truthfully say that Daniel Vladar hasn't exceeded their expectations.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, he's been great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the guy's rocking a 906 save percentage, 12 wins, and 2 shutouts in there as well.
Yeah, just 5 losses.
Yeah.
How many backup goalies can do that? Win 12?
Not too many.
19 games. People, we got to be super happy, man. We got to be happy.
We were talking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Any negatives you see going into the playoffs?
I was going to say we were kind of leading into it already. We have been so fortunate to not have to deal with any long-term injuries or things like just like games that are or like injuries that have kept guys out for more than 2 games or something like that. Right. I'm knocking on wood right now, but that's kind of that's the nerves. It's like it hasn't happened yet. It's just waiting for that other boot to drop for me. So.
Did you hear Daryl Sutter the other day? And he said, successful playoffs are because you get good goaltending and you stay healthy. And I sat and thought about it. I'm like, that's the truth for regular seasons too. Because why are we in the position that we're in? Outside of having arguably the best first line in hockey, we've had good goaltending and we stayed healthy this year.
You want to take a look at the flip side of that. Vegas, right? They've been dealing with injury after injury after injury, and it's even to their goaltending. Yeah, it's even to their goaltending, right? Like both the meh goaltending at times. Don't get me wrong, like Robin Leonard has been fantastic throughout parts of the season as well, but it sounds like he's dealing with his own injury stuff right now, which that's a whole other topic really with goaltending in the Vegas Golden Knights that stems back to Marc-Andre Fleury being there. I know it's only a season removed, but like so much has gone on with that organization since then. But yeah, you get caught with all of those big time injuries and everything like that. And Vegas is currently sitting outside of a playoff spot right now and might miss the playoffs for the first time in franchise history.
They would lose their mind in that management group.
Oh, I can't wait for the Twitter reactions to it. Honestly,
who would you say is the Flames MVP this season?
Man, I feel like it's got to be Gaudreau.
I do too.
Right?
Can you believe I'm saying that?
Like part of me is going like, man, you're not where you are without Jacob Markstrom putting up the numbers that he has been. A 922 save percentage and 37 wins currently with 9 shutouts. I'm like, you don't get there, but you really don't get there without Johnny Gaudreau producing the way he has been.
No. You know what? You know what's another thing that I've thought numerous times this year? You know what? The one thing that I'm really glad we figured out this year, as much as I'm happy about Gaudreau and I'm happy about Tkachuk's good year that gets forgotten almost, I'm really happy that we learned this year that Elias Lindholm is a true number 1 center.
Yes, absolutely.
I
forget it. Yeah, I forget who shared it, but it was just like resharing the tweet of, hey, we've traded Michael Ferland, Dougie Hamilton, and Adam Fox for and I was like, man, yeah, like Elias Lindholm was supposed to be the secondary piece to that trade, and he's become our number 1 center, and it's not like it's not for we need somebody in that spot. It's no, the guy can play it.
Yes, and the league is taking notice that this guy's a true number 1 center now. Calgary finally has a true number 1 center. And we've been saying for years we have, but we never really did. We've been telling ourselves that to feel good. But
I feel like the only way I may be getting a little ahead with like awards and whatnot, and I'm trying not to be biased on it. I feel like the only way that Lindholm doesn't win the Selke this year is because it's Patrice Bergeron's award.
For sure.
It's the Bergeron award. So
he won't win it because everybody out east will vote Bergeron.
Yeah.
They won't win it. Who's the unsung hero on the Flames this year?
Oh man. Dan Vladar could be up there, honestly.
Yeah, I thought of him too.
Yeah. I mean, like he hasn't played a crazy amount of games compared to, like just how goaltending normally has been going with the NHL lately, right? Like you have your 1A, 1B like tandem more than anything, but like this is still very much a traditional starter and backup. Yep. And you could have a backup sit there forever and just, kind of be, it's fine. But Vladar has stood on his head every game. So whether the numbers reflect it or not, if he gets thrown in like the back-to-back situation that he did a couple months ago kind of thing, right? But like the efforts there and everything like that, the guy is doing everything he can. And he's really learning as well, right? Like I looked to that shootout against Nashville and he's talking with Markstrom right away, right? I
saw that too.
Like who do I have to watch out for? What are the kind of tendencies and whatnot, right? Like Vladar is still a student of the game, but he learns so fast, it seems like, that it's just like the guy hasn't even played like 40 NHL games yet, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Over the course of his career.
No, I don't think he's been 25.
He's 26. He's got a 14-7-3 record. And 5 of those games were not with the Calgary Flames this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. You know who my unsung hero is?
Who do you got?
Eric Gudbranson.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. He definitely turned a corner from what I was definitely in that group of why. Yeah, I was 100% in that group. I remember seeing that signing and just going, no. But
he's a calming factor out there in a way. I can't even believe I'm saying that because he was anything but calming in the preseason even. But
yeah,
like I don't know, man. He just does everything you ask him to do, and he does it good. So what a blessing that's been. Oh, that's been a big one.
That
Oh,
entire third pairing of Gabranson and Zadorov, like I remember like the first few weeks of the season, and I'm like, this is a train wreck. Oh yeah, the preseason especially, but even like the first little bit of the regular season, I'm like, this is a train wreck. I shouldn't be noticing the third line as much as I do. And then it just like I kind of realized I was like, I haven't really noticed them actually like in that way in a long time. Oh,
you know what I thought?
All right.
I was watching the Canucks Flames game, and I'm watching last night, and I was watching Tyler Myers and Luke Shin, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
that is exactly what I thought Zadorov and Gabranson would be this year.
Yeah, 100%.
That's my little shot at the Canucks here, but all right, 2 questions, and then I'm going to let you get back to your work. Be 100% honest. Can the Flames win the Stanley Cup this year?
That's the question on everybody's mind, right? Like even to I think it like what's his name, Big Cat or whatever, that's with Barstool. Like I even just saw a tweet from him. It was just like, are the Flames legit? Like, can they go win a cup this year? And I feel actually a lot more confident when I see other fan bases saying yes, they can. That's where I'm like, okay, it's not like because I can try to remove myself from the bias as much as possible. But I can always look at this team and go, yeah, this is a team that could do it, right? But seeing it from the outside, that's what just kind of goes, okay, yeah, I think they could. I don't want to dive too much into that though. I want to get past the first round first, and then I can give you a definitive answer on yes or no.
I know. That's kind of where I'm at too. I did admit though to myself and the hockey world that this week I've seen enough to know that I think they're capable of winning the Stanley Cup.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Capable. Who would you consider both East and West as the true teams that are cup contenders this year?
Oh man. Can I give you conference final matchups? I can never pick just one team to go for it.
No. I'm not telling you to tell me who wins the Stanley Cups. I'm just saying, I'm looking at but you look at this. If I told you that the Rangers won the cup, would you be shocked? No. Carolina? Could happen. Tampa Bay?
Depends on Anderson. That's what I'd say for Carolina.
But all we've seen from Anderson this year is good.
Yeah, but he's out injured right now. And
I know.
Antti Ranta just left today's game as well, so they might.
But
then again, somebody. Oh, who was it that brought it up? Griffin Young, I believe, is who I had seen tweet it. Who said the last time that the Carolina Hurricanes had to use a rookie in the playoffs was 2006. A guy named Cam Ward. Yep.
Oh God, if that happened, oh. I had a good here's a good story. I had a good friend of mine, and he's an Edmonton Oilers fan. Grew up in Saskatchewan, and he's an Oilers fan, and he has been since
double whammy
since I met him, and he's always given me a hard time about the Flames. And I was at a junior hockey game. This is probably about 6 weeks ago. And I was walking by, I was in line to get a beer, and I come out of the beer stand, and he was standing there. And when I walked by, he grabbed my arm and he's like, "Hey, Brad." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You're going to hear it here first. Carolina, Calgary. That's the finals."
Ooh.
And I just kind of smiled and I said, "No, we just got to get through the first round." And he's like, "I'm telling you."
I kind of like that, actually. I don't know why. Like, I can't even pinpoint as to like, oh yeah, like I think that like the Flames could take it or the Carolina could take it. I just think of that and I just go, that's a good game, let alone a series.
I know.
Ooh, I like that.
It's got. I've thought about it. Quite honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I've thought about it daily since he said that. I'm like, oh gosh. Oh, I don't know. I try to down when I talk Flames. I try to downplay it because. And then when I do the podcast, I try to pride myself on being like realistic. Like as much as I'm a fan and it's impossible not to have some bias. If I see things wrong, like I'm the first to say like, "Hey, I think this is a problem,"
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. I like things right now. I like where we're going. I like the roster. We've got every guy almost in the roster having a career year. Like how the hell can we not be happy right now?
Yeah, exactly. I think the only thing that would make everyone even more happy is a Stanley Cup banner going up next year, and the cup parading around to a bunch of. Well, I mean, it'll spend a lot of time in Sweden if Calgary wins, but
Yeah, a whole month probably,
yeah,
which I'm
exactly.
fine with. Those guys have all been good. And
Oh
I
yeah.
don't. This is a fun group. This is a special group. This really is. And
Mhm.
I don't know. We're a week away. I'm excited. I I don't even know how I'm going to be able to handle the day before the playoffs start or the day of the game. I'm going to be a mess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, and I know you are too. So, how are you going to be watching the games?
I'll probably be watching the majority of them from home. I want to try to get up to at least just the red lot for one game. Um, but yeah, like I still want to be part of the atmosphere, but for the most part, it'll probably be from home and invite
Yeah.
some people over or something like that. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a goofy fan too. I like to really watch, so like I don't even want anybody with me. I like to watch, and then after the game, I'll go partake in the fun. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I know you're as excited as I am, and let's just hope that we can stay healthy and hope we can have our Johnny Gaudreau keep scoring tons and tons of goals, and yeah, all will be good in Calgary, right?
yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks for coming on the show, Nate. It's always good talking Flames hockey with you. And we're going to have a long, long cup run, and we're going to have you on hopefully numerous times through this little journey that we go on. And hopefully it ends with what you were just talking about. And that's raising the Stanley Cup in Calgary. Is I haven't even got that far to even think of what that would be like. But maybe after round one or two, I'll allow myself to envision what that would be like.
Sounds good. It was funny. I had just like a quick daydream moment, and it was Johnny with the cup, and part of me kind of wondered because like I've heard stories of he's actually 5'7", he's not actually 5'9", it's what he's listed or that kind of thing. But like, what does the cup actually look like beside him? I'm just kind of curious. I want to see it.
Did you see those pictures on After Hours last night?
Oh yeah, like the
Johnny standing next to some
yeah.
of his teammates when he was in
Oh,
Dubuque. Oh,
dude, that's me. Like if Johnny is actually 5'7", he's the same height as me. Yeah, it's just small fry. It's great.
he is, I got the pleasure to meet Johnny Gaudreau one time, and he is a really, really nice guy, very soft spoken, quiet. And yeah, he's small, and I'm not a huge guy either, but yeah, Johnny Gaudreau is definitely small in stature, but big as hell on the score sheet this year. And yeah, he's made me swallow a lot of comments that I've made over the last 2 years. So but I'm manning up and I'm admitting it. And so far, he's proven me wrong. Now he just needs to prove me wrong in the playoffs, right?
There's certain things that it's okay to be wrong about.
I'm
And there's some cases you'd rather be wrong. So
for sure, for sure, for sure. And I'm tired. I wish everybody in Calgary would shut up about the contract. Let's just get through the playoffs and then we'll talk, right?
well, yeah, even on After Hours they had brought it up, and I'm like, okay, we're doing public negotiating apparently through Scott Oak here. I'm like, guys, let's just relax for a second, right?
Let's
The
just get.
contract will be even easier as long as he's able to focus on the playoffs and go win a cup.
I mean,
Hey,
I
you
know
want a
it's
cup here? Sign.
yeah,
Perfect.
and I know it's human nature, but like to hear everybody in Calgary worried more about who we're gonna have back for next year, it's like, well, guys, like this year's not
Let's
done, and
yeah.
this is a good hockey team. Like, can we just focus our resources on being happy and watching this group? Because I'm expecting big things.
Yeah, I am too. So we put pretty much everything into this club, right? Yeah. Focus on now.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining the show, Nate. I'll let you get back to your studies. I appreciate it. And we're going to talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks again for having me on, Brad.
Joining Flames Unfiltered now. He's been on the show before. Justin Thompson. He's a regular on Flames Twitter. And yeah, good to have you with us, Justin.
Good to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no, I look forward to having you back on. And now, this is your second time on this show here. We're starting to get close to getting status of being a regular on the show. So if that's going to be the case, which is a good thing, tell us a little bit about yourself so we can kind of get to know you a little bit more.
What would you like to know?
Did you grow up in Calgary then?
I did. Yeah, I was born and raised in Calgary, moved to Medicine Hat for a bit, and yeah, I'm back and moved out to BC for a bit. But yeah, most of my life has been here in Calgary.
What do you do for fun?
I'm an Olympic level swimmer, so I'm training a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a lot of hard work. I'm working towards the next Olympics right now, and it's a lot of fun though, because you get to meet a lot of new people from a lot of different countries, and it's really good to be a part of.
Wow, that's quite an experience, and boy, I'm sure you have a million stories that go along with that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's talk Flames. Regular season coming to an end now, and we're a week away from the Stanley Cup playoffs, and something we didn't get to experience last year in Calgary, and this year we do, and this year we get to do it like 2018-19. We're going in with a good hockey team. What differences do you see in this group than you did in 18-19, and how excited are you for the playoffs?
Oh, I'm ecstatic for the playoffs. I can't wait for May 2nd when it all kicks off. But to get to the differences I see in this team, like Daryl Sutter said last night, it was about listening to the players and about moving it towards more of team achievements more than it is personal and different achievements for each player. So I see a lot of differences in that, and we just have a better group surrounding us. Like the bench is a lot happier than I've seen in previous years, and it's a lot more energetic out there.
I feel like this year, what makes a difference in my mind is I feel like there's just a different maturity level.
Yeah,
there's a different confidence level, and this year we're going in with a team that I believe is more. I don't want to say like you need to be like goon ready for the playoffs, but it's a different level of physicality, and I feel like this team is playoff physical versus the team in 18-19, which was more. I don't know if the term soft is the right term, but more of a we're going to do this on skill.
Yeah.
And I don't think that really works in the playoffs. So I feel a whole lot more confident this year. And I'm over the top excited to get this thing going. I feel like these last couple of weeks have just been like, oh, can we get these playoffs going? So yeah, I'm excited to watch. Where are you going to be watching the playoffs from?
Most games from my uncle's house. He and I like to cheer on the boys together. Maybe a couple from the bar.
Yeah,
get out with fans.
Are you hoping to get tickets and get to a game maybe?
Maybe, but tickets are super expensive for playoffs, so we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, they are going to be, and rightfully so, going to be a tough grab, and that's good because the Saddle Dome is going to be off the charts, and the Red Mile is going to be the place to be.
Yeah, definitely.
The season, you look at the standings, and it's looks like we kind of know who our opponent's going to be with a high probability of Nashville. There is some shuffling that still can take place, and there's some other teams that we can play. Who do you think we're going to end up playing?
Obviously, the big one right now, like you said, is Nashville. Who would I rather play? I would rather play Dallas.
You
easily.
Would?
Yes.
Why?
Well, part of it is redemption for that bubble season, and part of it is my heart and blood pressure couldn't take Nashville in round one.
I think Nashville is going to be a real tough out, but then I started thinking about it, and I look at Dallas, and I'm like, they're going to be a tough out too. This team, and I know it's a different team this year, but look at the scores this year against Dallas. We're not winning. Dallas has been a tough out for the Flames. It seems like for the last 5-10 years, and I don't know why that is, but I don't know. For some reason, Dallas scares me a little bit, and I'm really careful on what I'm wishing for and who I'm wishing for because it haunted me in 18-19, and I think, it's such a different season, and we're going to get who we get, and we're going to do just fine. How do you see us matching up against Nashville?
Matchup is pretty good against Nashville, I find. I'm stuck on this question, to be honest with you.
I think, I look at Nashville as a team that's going to match our physicality.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that scares me a little bit. Not that I don't think we can get past that, because God knows if we're going to win the Stanley Cup, we're going to have to get past that. But I feel like that would be a long, drawn out series, but I do feel like the Flames would come out on top of that. Now with Dallas, it kind of makes me feel good when I see a young goalie in net, but yet that top line and the experience that top line has kind of scares me. I don't know. How do you see the Dallas matchup? Is that something that you feel confident against Dallas? Why do you feel confidence?
As horrible as it is to say, I think it would be a lot easier matchup, just because they're so young, and they're so, like, their goalie is so young, and they're so just.
I mean, the Dallas has a great veteran first line, but beyond that, I would agree they are fairly inexperienced. Miro Heiskanen on the defense side scares me because he's so good. I don't know. I don't know. I think if we go into Dallas, it's going to be a little bit more free flowing series. I think the Nashville would be a little bit more grinded out physical series. Honestly, I don't, as good as I feel like the Flames are, I don't see either of those two series being a sweep. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. And I agree with you there. Like, it would be more of a physical series with Nashville, but I feel, now that you've said that, I feel like we could match up against that a lot better, because we have players like Lucic and Zadorov who can throw the body around.
Now, it's going to be interesting. We've seen who the top Flames performers have been so far this season. Who do you think the top playoff performers in the playoffs are going to be?
I think nothing's going to change. Daryl Sutter has them locked down into a system that's working, and that's not going to change for playoffs. So I see our first line really getting a whole lot of the work done. And then I see players like Dubé and Lucic and Zadorov getting the stuff we need from our depth.
So do you think Johnny Gaudreau is going to be able to handle the physicality of a Stanley Cup playoffs?
I don't know if they'll throw him out there, like, with the physical lines of, say, Nashville or Dallas.
They'll definitely match around it, but, and I'm not saying he can't, because he's been a completely different player this year, and a player that has proved me wrong, and I've fessed up to it. But I just know, and I fear, because he's disappeared in a few playoff series, and I don't want to see that. I think we're going to get what we're going to get from Lindholm. There's certain players I feel real confident I know who we're going to get. Lindholm's a player I feel confident. Rasmus Anderson's a player I feel confident. And there's other ones too. I'm just naming a few. A couple players I worry a little bit about would be Matthew Tkachuk. Not that I don't think he can handle physicality. I don't think that. I just haven't seen him be a consistent playoff threat yet, I guess would be the best way to put it. And outside of Johnny Gaudreau's very first season in the National Hockey League and in the playoffs, I feel like he hasn't been much of a playoff threat. Now, this line's been drastically better this year. You think that's going to carry over into playoff success also?
I do, yeah. Like I said, Daryl Sutter doesn't mess around, especially during playoffs. He likes to lock in his players and make sure they know what they're doing. And if they're not doing that, he'll let you know and he'll sit you. So I don't think anything's going to change from the regular season to the playoffs, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, I think that would be in my mind a great thing. As we've come down the stretch here now, we've seen some other players emerge who were kind of struggling, and we've also seen some players who were playing better start to struggle. And my examples would be Dylan Dubé's game has been a lot better in the last month than it was in the previous months. And it seems like Milan Lucic's game has kind of, with the exception of last night, I thought he had a really good night last night, has kind of dipped.
Yeah.
Where are you at on those two? How do you think those guys will manage through the playoffs?
For Dylan Dubé, I find that the second half of the season is when he really comes alive. So I think the playoffs will really show that to us this time around, and nothing will really change from how he's playing right now. Milan Lucic, I think he's not necessarily going to provide the offense that you need, but he is going to be there to throw the body around. He is going to be there to protect the players that do get the offense that you need.
So now the real hard questions come. Are there who do you consider when you look at both the East and the West? Who would you say are Stanley Cup contenders?
Stanley Cup contenders, Colorado, Minnesota, obviously Calgary. I've let myself finally start to believe that.
Me too.
East, I haven't been paying attention much to the East this year, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a little bit tougher. I paid a little bit more attention to the East this year versus last year when we didn't play anybody in the East, but their playoffs have lacked the excitement just simply because they've been set for quite some time. I do think, I look at a Florida Panthers team, a team that doesn't have a ton of playoff success, but boy, they've been firing on all cylinders. I look at them as a cup contender. Tampa Bay, you have to look at them as a cup contender. And, with what we've seen it's really wide open out East too. I think there's so many teams that can win. And when I flip over to the West, I feel like there's a lot of teams that could win. That you look at the matchups and stuff. And if you said, well, that, if I said that Colorado got upset, that would shock me. But if, St. Louis beats Minnesota, I can completely consider that series a complete toss up. Yeah. I would say that Edmonton's probably would be the favored over the Los Angeles Kings is kind of where that's slotting in, and it looks like LA's been putting up enough points to hold that spot. Now we'll see how this final stretch goes, but I look at a team like Edmonton that's just been gangbusters lately, and they've turned into a team that kind of scares me a little bit. As much as I want a Battle of Alberta, is that something you want?
It would scare the hell out of me. I'm not going to lie to you.
It would be exciting and I'd love it if I knew we were going to win.
Yeah.
But Edmonton's a team I'm scared of right now.
I am too. And I don't know if I necessarily want that as a playoff matchup. I know a lot of Flames fans do, but I am not one of those Flames fans that want that.
Well, if we get to the second round, quite honestly, I'm to the point where I understand the playoffs well enough to know that I'll take whoever I get, just because I'm happy as hell to get to the second round. Because God knows in Calgary we haven't seen that as much as we would like in the past. I don't know though. I think a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs would be absolutely bonkers in both Edmonton and in Calgary. I think it would be a tough out for either team. I think if you asked an Oilers fan and you held a gun to their head and made them be honest, they would tell you they'd be nervous as hell. And I think a Calgary fan would be lying if we didn't say we would be nervous as hell too.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I feel like travel that's the only thing that would be easy is travel on the players.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think the games would be physically easy. Oh man, the trade-off there would be rough, boy. I guess if I had to make my wish, I'd like to see us advance from the first round and get an LA Kings team that's worn out from the Edmonton Oilers. And not saying that the Kings, I would take them lightly, but that would be a path of less physicality than Edmonton would be in my mind.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be interesting. It'll be exciting. I know you're pumped for the playoffs, and you answered kind of my last question a minute ago. I said, be 100% honest. Can you see the Flames winning the Stanley Cup this year?
Yes, I can.
I guess if I have to answer that, I can too. I like this team. I like how it's been constructed. I like how they performed over the year, and the one thing I really like the most this year about this team is consistency.
One question that we haven't touched base on is Vegas. Do you think they come back? Do you think they make a push?
I went back and forth on this, and just when I think that they're dead, something happens that benefits them.
Yeah.
They have a goaltending mess going on right now. They have Stone, who I don't believe even has a point since coming back. I don't know. I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would say they don't make it, simply because LA has been putting up points.
Yeah.
I think they honestly, and I didn't even think they had a chance in the world of this, they probably have a mathematically better chance of taking a wild card spot now, which scares the living hell out of me because I don't want to play them in the first round.
Yeah.
But I find myself right now, checking the TV or the NHL schedule and the TV listings to watch their games as much as I do the Calgary games and cheer against them as much as I cheer for the Flames.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know. That's just the way I feel about Vegas. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think they come back either. Just because they have 4 games left and they're 4 points back of the second wild card spot. So
if they do, it's a hell of an accomplishment. And doing it with uncertainty in the net and some of your stars not producing, man, they're gonna need to really, really get it together here. I can't remember their opponents down the stretch, but I don't think it's like I know LA's opponents are much easier. I don't believe LA plays another playoff opponent the rest of the year.
Oh wow.
So I can't help but think that LA won't take advantage of that. If they don't, they sure as hell don't deserve a spot. But now we got to kind of secretly cheer for Nashville and secretly cheer for Dallas, don't we?
Kind of, yeah.
But careful what we wish for. Maybe, I mean, would Vegas be? I mean, I'm afraid to play both those teams. Not quite as much as I am Vegas, but I don't know. I've thought a lot of times over the last week or two, maybe I shouldn't just watch any of the other games and just let the chips fall where they may, because I find myself cheering for this one, and then I'm like, oh crap, I can't cheer for that now because then that would open the door for this team, and it's like I don't want that team. So it's like, oh, it's tough when you start playing that game of cheering for other teams and watching those standings change each and every night. I do know that Tuesday night's a much watch NHL night, as a lot of the Western Conference will be determined on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And the Vancouver Canucks are pretty much dead, and that's exciting too as a Flames fan, because we don't like the Canucks, do we?
Nope, not at all.
Well, Justin, great having you on the show. Always fun talking Flames hockey with you. I hope you enjoy the playoffs as much as I do. Look forward to having you on the show again. I hope this is a long playoff run. I hope that we're doing these shows each and every week for a long time here, because I think this team is offers Flames fans about as good a chance at winning the Stanley Cup as we've seen in more than a few decades. So quite a bit of excitement in Calgary, and I hope you enjoy this playoff run. I thank you so much for coming on the show, and hope to talk to you real soon.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. It was great talking to you, Brad.
All right, Flames fans, time for a little bit of Flames news as we cruise through this. Calgary officially clinched the Pacific Division with that win over Dallas on Thursday night, a 4-2 win. And yeah, that is a huge, because this team will have home ice advantage. Through the second round. Daryl Sutter summed it up wonderfully in his post game. He says the team deserves this. They've been the most consistent team in the division and deserve to win the division this regular season. I've won lots of them. Then pointing to the roof, it goes up there, but you get nothing for it. This team has bigger goals ahead, and that's a great sign. Some milestones this week. Matthew Tkachuk, 40 goals and 100 points for Matthew Tkachuk. He joins Johnny Gaudreau as a 100-point scorer for the Flames. Last time two players on the team had it was back in 1991. Al MacInnis, 104. Theo Fleury, 103. And it was the first Calgary player to score 40 goals since Jerome Iginla. All right, Tyler Toffoli, 200 career assists. Elias Lindholm hit the 40-goal mark last night. Matthew Phillips down in Stockton hit the 30-goal mark, so that's even good news on the farm. All kinds of milestones this year. Daryl Sutter would freak out if he heard us talking about him. Another milestone that can't go unnoticed, Eric Branson named the 2022 Peter Marr Good Guy Award winner. That's a huge honor, and Eric Branson is a great winner of that. One call up from Stockton this week as Dustin Wolf was called up last night on emergency backup to backup Dan Vladar as Jacob Markstrom got the evening off. Some speculation of an injury to Markstrom. I have not heard anything to that at all. I think it was just some time to relax and reset as he prepares for the Stanley Cup playoffs. No injuries this week to report, and that is about the best news that we could come up with. Some news from the division, the Western Conference playoff race heats up. The Central is locked as Colorado leads that. Minnesota with St. Louis will play each other second and third. They're fighting for home ice right now, and they are actually deadlocked in that, both with 107 points. Calgary holds that Pacific Division championship. It looks likely that Edmonton will be playing LA, as LA has got their things together, winning 4 of 5 and solidifying some pretty good points. Two easy opponents as they head down the stretch. Vegas hot on their tail. Wildcard positions, both Nashville and Dallas at 93 points. Vegas, the only team that really, I guess Vancouver can catch them, but that's not happening after last night. And Vegas at 89 points with a game in hand over Dallas at 93. That could possibly happen. It's getting clearer and get clearer. Tonight, San Jose, Vegas play on a Sunday as we record this. That'll be critical into this playoff race. And then Tuesday night, Dallas, Vegas. Wow. Can you get any bigger than that one? As that'll determine a lot of who's going to get in. And this race is Vegas isn't dying. It'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. Edmonton on a super, super hot streak, 8-2-1 in their last, 8-2-1 in their last 11 as they lost today to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They were winners of 4 in a row prior to that, 4+ goals in each of those games. They managed just 2 today in a loss to the Blue Jackets. Mike Smith, 2 shutouts last week. He is getting hot at the right time. Vegas, they are in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, they have had some problems as there was all kinds of confusion this week as Lehner was reported to be out for the rest of the year needing surgery. Then it came back from Elliot Friedman that Lehner was actually just pissed because he got yanked the other night and has been playing through an injury and said, screw it, I'm just going to have surgery and be done with this. Now that they've talked with Lehner, the team, and his agents, things have changed a little bit. I don't know. It's changing every hour on what's going to happen with the goaltending in Vegas. We'll find out a little bit more Sunday night as the Sharks Vegas take place. Just a bad thing that Vegas really doesn't need to be dealing with right now as they're fighting for their playoff lives. Last thing they need to be worrying about is their starting goalies. So just an unfortunate events in Vegas. But we don't cheer for Vegas anyways. We would want them out. So that'll work out all right. The Vancouver Canucks pretty much punched their ticket last night. They're not mathematically out, but Saturday night's loss to the Flames 6-3 has diminished those chances to almost impossibility. This will be an interesting offseason for for the Vancouver Canucks, I'm very, very interested to see the moves they make if they bring Boudreau back. Lots of unanswered questions in Vancouver. Get all your Flames Unfiltered podcasts, team news, team updates, and highlights at flamesunfiltered.com. And we're heading down the stretch for the Flames. 3 games remain, 3 on the road. The road trip starts Tuesday night in Nashville as the Flames take on the number 1 wildcard Nashville Predators. Most likely their opponent in the first round. Yes, they are currently 4th in the Central with 93 points. Their third and final meeting between the two teams. Nashville's won both of them. The first one 3-2 in overtime in Calgary. The second one just 1 week ago, 3-2 in Nashville. That one was in a shootout. Calgary then takes Wednesday off, gets on up to Minneapolis to take on the Minnesota Wild on Thursday night. They're currently 2nd in the Central, 107 points. Team's been really, really good this year. Their third meeting, Calgary won the first one 7-3 in Calgary, followed it up with a win in Minnesota just 2 nights later, 5-1. Calgary has owned Minnesota so far this year. This one will be a tough task and a possible third-round opponent. Getting a little ahead of ourselves there, but you never know. Calgary wraps the season up on a back-to-back that Friday night, April 29th in Winnipeg. They take on the Jets, 6th in the Central, 81 points, a team out of the playoffs. They won't have a lot to play for that night. Third and final meeting between the two teams. Winnipeg won the first one in Calgary, 4-2. Calgary won the second one in Calgary, 3-1. Yes. Oh, boy. Can you say Stanley Cup playoffs time? It is here. We are just 1 week away from the Stanley Cup playoffs. Ooh. Next Sunday night, we're going to be doing another recording as we've shuffled Wednesday to Sunday until the playoffs get going, and we'll get back on our normal Wednesday routine. Unless it's a game night, then we'll shuffle a day back and forth here or there. Next Sunday night is the Stanley Cup playoff preview show. We will run through playoff predictions. We will take a look at our first round opponent and break down the series matchup. And Kyle Lewis is going to join the show, and he's going to take a look at that first round with us and talk Flames playoffs. And it's fun to say that, isn't it? It'll be a jam-packed episode next week. Get on over to flamesunfiltered.com. Check out the show there, old episodes, social media stuff on there, everything you need to know about the Flames. All right, Flames, 1 week away. Have a great week, Flames fans. Let's get this Red Mile going. Get connected. Flames Unfiltered can be found on Twitter @FlameUnfiltered. And also make sure you check out our Facebook page @FlamesUnfiltered. Check out host Brad Burud on Twitter @BradBurud. And if you like what you hear, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can find Flames Unfiltered on all the major podcast players. Thanks again and enjoy the hockey action.
Play on! Yeah, baby! Play on! Yeah, baby!
Thanks for tuning in to Flames Unfiltered. Check back for more action-packed Calgary Flames talk. This episode of Flames Unfiltered was copyrighted and produced by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.